On the fourth and final episode, we are talking about the future of joy with Jessica. So let's get into it. Come join us on the Courage Chronicles. Let's get into it. Hi there, my name is Curran, and I'm one of the co-owners of Local Laundry. Come join me on the Courage Chronicles, where we interview different people on their area of expertise and how they became successful and how you can learn from their success. All right, welcome back to the fourth and final episode of the Courage Chronicles with one of my best friends, Jessica Janzen.
We've hung out 3 times.
That's all. When
That's
you know, you know.
When you've met the one, it just clicks.
Yeah, when you know, you know. I want to know, you've had an incredible journey, an incredible past. Again, I've mentioned the energy, I've mentioned the pure passion that oozes out of your very being. Where are we going? You just had your 40th birthday. Where are we going to be at your 50th birthday, your 60th birthday? Tell me the goals, the visions.
Wouldn't you love if just somebody could tell you where you're going? You're like, this is the path, like just stick to it.
No, me, like personally, I think that's why I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I love being in control of my own destiny. I love picking where I'm going to go, and that's what gets me excited.
I think what the crazy part is for me is my mom says this about me. She's like, you always pick the hardest route. Like the hardest way to do it. And I think it's true in a lot of areas. Like I never pick like the simple or the...
Yeah, why would you? Simple's boring.
Sing it, yeah.
Right? Everyone does the easy route.
Yeah.
No one does the hard route.
No, and I know that I'm wired for the hard. Like that's what I think where I've gotten so good at. That's why I speak on resilience. That's why I speak on, bringing joy into whatever you face.
But that's what makes you so special.
Yeah.
And that's why you've achieved all the things you've achieved.
Yeah.
You mentioned when you were a little girl you wanted to host your own TV show.
Yeah, I don't know why. And I think I've always been fascinated with like fame and what that looks like. And that's very much so changed. Although my husband and I do think that we could make some hilarious like reality TV.
I mean, I'd watch it for Hot Ronnie alone. Sign me up.
Honestly, some of the conversations, I'm like, never say that in public, never say that in front of anyone, never say that on social media, because he's hilarious and he's so fun, and he's just a blast to be with. He has the same great energy. Like, you need to have your day made better, go hang out with him, and he'll like bring you up a million times over. But the big things for me that I have had on my goal list for a really long time was writing a New York Times bestseller. Possibly, we were just talking about this, but having my own podcast and sharing other people's stories of resiliency and like overcoming that, because I think it's so encouraging when you're like, oh, someone else has like gone through that thing and they found a way through. Okay, I can do it too. My husband and I this year, I've had a dream for a really long time, which is why I wrote my book, but then the book kind of shifted once our son got sick and passed. But I want to write a screenplay and have our story made into a romantic comedy.
Who would play you?
I don't know. We were talking about that this summer, and my daughter was listening to us. We were on a hike, and she was listening, and she's like, well, I want to be in the movie. I'm like, okay, well, you could maybe play yourself at the age that you're at, or we would incorporate. And she's like, oh, okay. But I don't know if I would get to play me.
All right, yeah, because that's a tough question. Who would play Hot Ronnie more importantly? I'm thinking like maybe Bradley Cooper.
Oh my gosh, yes, please. Hello.
That's just the first one that pops into my head.
Yeah, totally. But could he play young enough? I mean, it's Bradley Cooper. He looks fantastic. Because we're like in our...
We might have to go Timothy Chalamet.
Super duper.
Do you know who he is?
I have no idea. I don't follow pop culture that much, so when people are like names, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, anyways.
So you've written a book. What's the name of your book?
It's called Bring the Joy. I have another book in the works. It's called The Hard Work of Joy. Title may change. I'm looking to have a publisher pick it up, but if not, I'm going to self-publish it.
Did you do that for your first one?
I self-published my first one, and we've sold more than 10,000 copies out of our garage, so it worked.
Fantastic,
but it's not an easy route. So
why would it be?
Right? Like, why would you do it the simple way?
But going back from our last episode talking about being relentless, another word that comes to mind about when I think of you is inevitable. Like New York Times bestseller. I think that's an inevitability with you. You're going to write a book. Maybe it's not your next book. Maybe it's not the book after. But you were going to keep. Knowing you're just going to keep writing books until you get there. Hosting your own podcast, which is going to turn into a show, and all these things. I think when you're relentless and you have this energy, you have that mindset and willing to ride the roller coaster up and downs, you become inevitable. So.
But I think it's hard. Like, this is where I would say, if I'm being honest, I'm in a season where it's like, is it gonna happen? And so like I could say right now, I could be in a season of doubt. And I'm learning so much about myself through therapy, but I got an ADHD diagnosis. I'm waiting on an official dyslexic diagnosis, which I'm like, oh my gosh.
Makes so much sense.
It makes so, like, if I reread emails that I sent 6 months ago or in a follow-up, like missing words, and I'm like, how did I send this? But I know I will have reread it like 4 or 5 times. And so I'm in this season right now, I would say, of doubt, where you're like, is it worth it? Can I do it? Is it possible? And I think because, especially when you have a milestone birthday, like you just turned 40, I think we do like a check, like a big check-in, like, am I where I thought I would be in life? And then you're like, oh, maybe I thought I would be further along. And I had a conversation with someone, they're like, are you kidding me? They're like, look at what you've accomplished. But it's so easy for me to focus on the things I haven't done rather on all the goodness that has happened. And I think that's a lot of people, like, that's human nature, to look for evidence of what's not working. And that's the stall or the block. And so that's been something I've been wrestling with, because it's like I have all these dreams and it's like, oh man, but you've been talking about it for 5 years and it still hasn't happened. So is it silly to keep talking about it still?
I don't think so. I think dreams are dreams. Like, they're supposed to be there. They're supposed to be the guiding star.
But do you ever struggle with like saying that you're going to do the thing and it hasn't happened yet? So then you're feeling like, you know, not worthy or frustrated, or maybe you're a dude and it's totally different, or maybe you're Connor and you're wired different.
I do think I am wired differently. I have the biggest ego in the world. I think I'm great.
You are great.
I know I am. But I look at where I want to go and what I've achieved, and I haven't achieved everything I want to achieve, but I can tell you with 100% that I'm so happy with where I'm at right now, what I have done. Like, I started a clothing company by Google searching how to make a t-shirt company. You know, my mom dressed me until I was 25. I didn't know anything about clothing.
God bless your mom.
Yeah.
Bless, mom, you did good.
Yeah, you know, I didn't know anything about clothing or business, but I figured it out. And now look, you know, 10 years, we're going into our 10th year next year.
Congrats,
right?
That's huge.
Yeah, and we're not, you know, massive, you know, I'm not a millionaire by any means, but we're in the game, right? Going back to our previous conversation in the episode, we're in the game, and so.
Okay, let me ask you this question though. So you've been in the game for 10 years and you see other businesses that maybe have 10x'd what you've done.
Right.
Same circumstances, started with nothing, figured it out on Google, blew up, whatever, went viral, blah, blah, blah. Do you ever find yourself in a comparison game with that? Like, that's, I think, sometimes where I struggle, we're like, how did they do it? Or why did, and it can, there's so much noise out there with social media and all the other ways that we can stay connected that it can take you off your own game. So what do you do to stay so confident in where you're going?
I used to think about that all the time. I used to be so jealous.
Yeah.
Just stop caring. Life's too short. I mean, big life events happen, you know, that like we've all gone through, and it's like, who cares? And to steal a word from your vocabulary, comparison is the thief of joy, right? And so I just kind of built my life where I want to maximize joy, I want to maximize happiness, and I strip everything away. That's not that, whether that's negative people, you know, people I don't like being around with. I stopped drinking alcohol 7 years ago, you know, I built a sauna in my backyard, you know.
Yeah, you did.
All these little things that just optimize for optimism, happiness, joy, and I strip everything away. And I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not here to talk about how great I am, you know, and there's days where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do this. But I think if you can just wake up and go to bed being happy and feeling accomplished, and if not, change, right? And if you do have a big goal, like for me, you know, I got a big goal. I want to acquire, you know, I want to be like Hot Ronnie. I want to have all these different clothing brands and acquire businesses and be Mr. Business, you know. And so it's like, okay, well, what little tiny thing am I doing today
to shift that,
to accomplish that?
I love it.
And it could be spending 5 minutes Google searching how to do this, or asking ChatGPT how to do that. 5 minutes every single day. You know, that adds up. It compounds.
I love it. It's so powerful, and I think it's so easy, like for me to be in a season of doubt, and then it's just like hearing you say, okay, like what can I do today? And it's only like, I think I can get caught up in it. It has to be these big grandioso moments of like, okay, doing the next thing, but it's like, it's usually the consistency game of a 5 minute shift. And I also am so grateful that like, if if this is all I have, if my story is finished being written tomorrow, I get hit by a bus, whatever.
Look at all you've achieved.
But for me, it's like knowing that I went all in and that like what I have is enough and I enjoy going after the rest. Like I don't want it to be like, I'll be happy when I get the podcast and I get the New York Times bestseller. Like this is amazing, my life right now in this moment without those things. And as I work for them, they'll be awesome to add to it.
Yeah, you still need that to keep going. So if you had to pick one, let's pick one. Own show, own podcast, New York Times bestseller, which one? Or then we'll add the fourth, the screenplay.
The one that's probably makes the most sense to go after is my book, because I have the outline, like the book proposal's done, every chapter is laid out, like it's just filling in the blanks. The one that I get most excited about, but I'm like, holy shit, how do you write a screenplay? Because I have the idea in my head, but to get from here to there is usually the complicated part. So it would probably require somebody like transcribing it and helping me flesh through it and bringing in obviously professionals. That's the one that I'm like, I would be most excited to work on. And also honestly, like this is my brain where I'm like, this, that, squirrel, butterfly, woo, dance party. And so, yeah, I think it depends on the moment, but I really would love, I had a goal to get this book out by 40, and then I took my foot off the brake because I stopped believing in myself and in the message. And so I think that would be the next biggest one to make happen.
What's the title gonna be?
The Hard Work of Joy.
The Hard Work of Joy, that's a great title.
I think everyone wants everything so easy.
Yeah.
Like, and we're in a world of instant gratification. I mean, I could be like, oh, I forgot to, get cream. I mean, this is me. It's like the night before I forgot to get cream, I can Instacart and it's at my door at 8 a.m. the next morning. Like we're in this world. Amazon Prime, go add to cart, solve this problem, fix this thing, this person picks it up. And I think that's how people want joy to be. And if it doesn't happen that instantly, that automatically, that often, they just give up on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I think about often. You got to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
I often think of the Office, Andy, where he talks about like, remember, you never know. You only remember the good old days, but you rarely remember being in the good old days. And I keep telling like my business partner Dustin, I'm like, man, we're gonna make loads of money. We're gonna be so successful. But when we get there, we're old and gray and swimming in piles of money. We're gonna look back on like today and these days, like, man, remember when we had no money? Remember when we were trying to do this? Remember that dusty old warehouse, It's like...
Remember when we packed every single order and we didn't have a team? Yeah.
We're gonna look back so fondly on these times. Like, these are the good old days, and I think that's important to remember, especially when you're in the struggle and you're
in the grind.
In the grind. Mm-hmm. You're gonna look back at what's a massive problem today is gonna seem so insignificant a year, 5 years, 10 years.
I just remind myself that it's like you say more money, more problems, right? But it's like ensuring that the foundation is so solid so that whatever happens next, my roots are deep enough to help me weather any storm and to help my marriage weather any storm, to help my family weather any storm. Yeah. And so it's like in this, it's like, what's the foundation that you're building so you can go where you need to, where you're called.
I love that. And with that, if people want to connect with you more, they want a little piece of joy, where can they find you?
Want a little or a lot?
A little or a lot, as much as you give.
I'll bring it all. So if you want to connect with me, I would absolutely love it. Please message me, jess@jessicajansen.ca. You can check me out on Instagram, the Jessica Jansen. We've got some fun content over there. LinkedIn, my website, and check out loveforlewiston.ca. It's our incredible charity that's doing amazing work here locally in the city and across Canada. So thank you for connecting, and if there's a way that I can serve you, reach out.
All right, that is all episodes of the Courage Chronicles with myself and Jessica Janzen. Really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for following along. We'll see you next time. A big thank you for watching the Courage Chronicles. If you need information, or you want to be a guest on the show, or you know someone who would want to be a good guest on the show, click that link down below, or check out YYC Calgary Business or localhonour.ca. Thanks so much. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.